Hi, everyone. Okay, so um, I'm not feeling well today. Had my surgery on Monday, and I'm still kind of feeling not 100% yet. And but I didn't want to fall behind on what we were working on. but So basically, let's go over where we left off, which was pages 19 through 25. Had asked for those of y'all that were interested. I invited y'all to go over pages 19 through 25 and do the practice on page 25. I'm not sure what you've gotten, but any little baby step is good. You don't have to figure it all out, at once. But it's all a matter of, I say, baby steps. And so I didn't really go over like a lot of my personal reflections on this practice just because I really haven't been feeling well. But I did enter some stuff into ChatGPT to see what ChatGPT would say about what I went through. I just enter like a quick history of what I've gone through in my childhood. Anyway, so uh, in these pages that we read, 19 through 25, Schwartz gives us two big gifts. First, she names 8 factors that can contribute to complex PTSD, things like neglect, abuse, and attachment wounds. Second, she ties this to attachment theory, showing how our early relationships shape the way we learn to trust, love, and protect ourselves. Um, I've, I would say, I've struggled with both, like craving closeness and fearing it at the same time whenever I was younger. Uh, and I just, I know that that's rooted, I now know that that's rooted in my childhood trauma. Um, the body keeps a score. Like I had said, we were going to be working on both books. So this is the Complex PTSD Workbook, pages 19 through 25 that we're going over today. We're doing the check-in, like the reflections. So, and the body keeps the score is the other book that we're going over together. But in the body keeps a score, Kolk explains that trauma in childhood literally wires the nervous system for survival, not for safety and trust. And then I would say that I'd encourage you to write in a journal or just reflect quietly within you. If you're willing to write in a journal, just grab your journal if you'd like, or just sit with me for a moment. Which of these symptoms, and look over 19 through 25, on pages 19 through 25, which of those symptoms feel familiar in your daily life? Maybe it's something that you feel in your body, like tension or exhaustion, or maybe it's emotional, such as shame, sadness, or shutting down. Just notice, notice it without needing to fix it right now. When I typed all that stuff in, my childhood trauma into ChatGPT, it said the likely outcome is, in your case, the primary attachment style is disorganized with ambivalent / anxious elements toward your mother and avoidant tendencies from parentification. That means deep conflict around intimacy, craving closeness, but fearing it at the same time. Uh, Another number 2 says intense fear of abandonment. This is for my personal reflections I that I that I'm going over. So intense fear of abandonment, especially if someone pulls away and goes silent. And bullet 3 says hyper attunement to others' moods, because as a child you had to read the room for safety. And bullet 4, self-sacrificing / people-pleasing patterns rooted in parentification. And bullet 5, possible numbing or shutdown under stress, avoidant coping. How it might show up in my adulthood: attracting relationships that replay those early dynamics, hot, cold partners, unpredictable love, struggling with boundaries, either too porous, giving too much, or rigid, keeping people out. Another way it might show up is strong internal shame or self-blame. It must be me type of thing. And bullet 4 says difficulty trusting stability, because inconsistency feels more familiar than safety. So that's how it might show up in my adulthood and my likely outcome. And then we have to know that these are not flaws. They're survival responses. And they have basically, this is what our body and our mind did to help us survive during our trauma. And noticing these things is the first step. These are the first steps in being able to move toward healing. The most important thing that I want you to remember is that realizing these things doesn't mean that you're broken. These symptoms are survival strategies that we have learned throughout our childhood. It was our body's way of protecting us, even if it felt overwhelming, or if it feels overwhelming now. But by noticing them, you're already, like I said, you're already moving forward. You're already taking your first step into healing. So in The Body Keeps the Score, the author Kolk talks about trauma lives in the body. He explains how trauma lives in the body. The alarm system in our brain keeps firing even when we're safe. That's why Schwartz's practice of simply noticing our patterns or our triggers, just noticing what our strategies have been, what our defense mechanisms have been, is so powerful. By becoming aware, gently, and without any judgment towards ourselves, we start teaching our body that it's safe to feel again. So I'd say this is what I came up with for this short video. I didn't want to leave y'all hanging. I didn't want to do a long video because I'm not feeling well, but we can, this is something that you definitely can continue to reflect on and go over, and I can come back on Sunday and go over the pages 26 through all the way through the next practice, which I think it's on page 31. So Sunday we can go over 26 through 31. We can read over that, but for right now, just want to remind y'all that we can always empower ourselves through a thorough understanding of science and the psyche of trauma. Schwartz always, says in her book, "You're not broken and in need of fixing. Rather, you are just deeply hurt and in need of care." So like, share, and subscribe. And if you know somebody else that this channel might be useful for, or it might help somebody else out, share it with them. And like I said, I'll see y'all on Sunday. Let's do a little closing before I leave, and it'll be sort of a grounding routine that you can learn for when you're feeling a little overwhelmed while you're going through these practices. Sometimes we can tend to get a little overwhelmed. So I would say place your hand on your heart or your belly. Take a deep breath in and out. And repeat after me. My symptoms are not who I am. They are signs of how I survived. I am learning to see them with compassion. My symptoms are not who I am. They are signs of how I survived. I am learning to see them with compassion. And take another deep breath. Okay, well, that'll be the end of today's video. Just wanted to go over my reflections for 19 through 20, for the practice on page 25. And hopefully I will feel better soon, and I can continue with the video, with the Sunday's video. Anywho, so sending y'all lots of love, light, healing, and hugs. See y'all soon. Bye-bye.